time for the sermon. Shana Tova. As we enter into High Holy Days, a time when we contemplate life, death, and what it means to actually have the book of our lives open, we prepare on this evening for the biggest review ever by the divine, and whether we should be written and sealed to live or die. What will our next year really be like? What is in store for us? Will we live fully? Will we live harmoniously? Will we be plagued literally by disaster, more pandemics, calamity? Or will the year ahead be filled with the sweetness that we pray for at this time? This sweetness as we dip our apple into the honey, which you will get this evening and tomorrow. The apple actually representing our transgressions. Think of the garden and the apple. And the honey flipping the whole script to sweetness. Now, this isn't to say that we've been bad in our lives, and so that our deeds will then determine our fate. Or that if we actually died and passed in this coming year, that we actually did something wrong. That's not what's going on here. But we do want to acknowledge that at this time, we are meant to contemplate who we are, how we treat one another, and what exactly are we doing with our lives, along with the impact that we have on the world. So much is tied into this concept of forgiveness, of teshuvah, of repentance. In these days between Rosh HaShanah and Yom Kippur, we are meant to take stock. We are meant to review. We are meant to ask for forgiveness and grant forgiveness. So if there is anything I have done to hurt any one of you here in this room and in the live stream world, let me know. Talk to me. Share it with me. Let's have a discussion. But how do we actually forgive? How do we go to someone, ask for forgiveness, really do that, when at times we feel taken advantage of, or hurt, or betrayed? Have any of you ever felt that way? It really takes an act of character and of character development to be able to do fully and completely the process of teshuvah, of forgiveness, and for repentance. Buddha is quoted as saying, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door, enabling all to be able to move on. We are meant to elevate ourselves, correct our karma in Judaism tikkun, take action to repair ourselves, and in so doing our world. You can see we're learning how to forgive, and truly doing so would elevate our soul and our relationships, thereby having a ripple effect in the world. Judaic sources on forgiveness state that the act of forgiving eases tension, frees up the headspace formerly occupied by the past hurts that you are holding on to, and it lifts a heavy weight off your shoulders. It improves overall health and well-being, as it is beneficial for our mental and our physical health. Forgiveness increases empathy, because when you forgive somebody, you see those who have hurt you in their most vulnerable state. You begin to see that they are like you, also hurting and also hoping for the conflict to be resolved. It helps develop self-love, recognizing that forgiveness should not only be reserved for other people, although it can be a challenging task. Forgiving ourselves opens up the door to deeper self-love. During this week between Rosh HaShanah and Yom Kippur, we are meant to see who we have hurt, say we are sorry, and truly apologize, not just lip service. If we ask 3 times with no acceptance in return, our slate is clean, we took care of our business, we did what was necessary, even if it was not acknowledged in return. To be on the safe side, going forward, here are some suggestions from some sources which actually offer some quick pointers on how to truly make amends. Apologize as soon as you realize you've done something wrong. Be accountable, acknowledge that you are at fault. Give an explanation for your action, not as a justification, but as a chance for the one you have hurt to know exactly where you are coming from. Make it right. If something has been damaged, make your best effort to restore it. And that is the real key, trying to repair and restore something that has been broken. Martin Luther King is quoted as saying, "Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude." High Holy Days lays the foundation for a new year where our relationships with others and ourselves can reach new ground. New behaviors can be set into motion where the act of recognizing where we have gone wrong and making amends can bring new depths of meaning to our lives and what we are capable of experiencing with each other. We carry so much hurt around. Do you ever feel that way? It is extra baggage we just don't need. Releasing, making amends, and setting ourselves and the injured party free helps to elevate both souls. Fortunately, our Judaic system is designed to help us annually to become our best, be our best, and share our best. This is the pivotal path toward happiness and freedom without burden. Fresh, clean slates for ourselves and with others, enabling us to move forward. We all err. We aren't perfect. We aren't supposed to be. We are all here perfecting ourselves. The best and truly only way is in relationship. For better or worse, we are in this together. And forgiveness isn't easy. Whether the one asking or the one granting, we are tied together. The bond in relationships is fragile. To heal and move on takes great strength and desire on both parties to move forward. Sometimes the act of asking for and granting forgiveness can help repair and bring people closer. Think back to times in your lives when this might have been true. Yet, at other times, if the ask is impossibly difficult to accept and is denied, relationships can be shattered and the ties that bind severed forever. A psychiatrist once said, as long as one asks for forgiveness, there is hope. Once that need disappears, sociopathic tendencies can develop, take its place, and character is then completely altered. So it's safe to say, even in the most extreme cases, it is better to ask and it is better to forgive. However, it works best when both parties can summon up the strength and the heart to be authentic in the exchange. When we are at our worst emotionally in a relationship, angry, suspicious, filled with hurt, it is exceptionally hard to let go enough to be vulnerable enough to ask, and vulnerable and open enough to accept. It is an act of faith, it is an act of love, it is an act of devotion that elevates both parties and the relationship as a whole. There is a real story behind the song that we are going to be hearing in just a few moments from Perry, and it's called Forgiveness. It actually took the composer, Matthew West, 2 years to write it. It was so hard for him. He carried the words of the story around in his guitar case for 2 years, trying to figure out how he could write this song. And this happened about 9 years ago. There was a young woman, 20 years old, coming back from the beach with a girlfriend of hers, and she was killed. They were both killed by a drunk driver who was 24. The girl was a twin. The mother had 4 children. The 2 girls were twins. And she was devastated, as we all would be, furious, filled with anger and rage that was eating away at her soul. And she couldn't get over it. and it was making her sick. Have you ever felt anger and rage so much so it makes your stomach hurt, makes you sick? She couldn't get past it. It was changing who she was as a person. And so she decided that she had to go look at this young man in the eye. And so she went and she looked at him and she forgave him. And it changed the course of destiny for everyone. She was filled with a different sense of purpose and light. Her family saw it. They did the same. And when it came time for this young man to go before probation, he was sentenced to 22 years in prison. The family argued on his behalf that he should get less time. And the young man said to her, I don't care what the judge says. It is enough for me. If I had to spend the rest of my life in here paying for this, I can forgive. I can begin to forgive myself because you had the grace and the compassion and the mercy to forgive me. His sentence was reduced in half, and he eventually became like one of their family. That's heavy. Now, think in your life what's been done to you, how you've been wronged, hurt, betrayed, filled with rage. What can you do? Sometimes you have to be the bigger person. If two people are in the wrong and one person has the strength to be more accepting, that person has to rise above and do it. Not only for the sake of the other, but mostly for themselves, because you don't want to carry this rage around with you. It really makes you sick. This is our task at hand. I know of another story of a man, had a limousine company, but how ironic, he was busy with his job. He was going to meet his family after a bat mitzvah. His wife and his daughters were leaving the bat mitzvah, and they were all killed by a drunk driver. Now, this man could have been angry and resentful and bitter the rest of his life, but instead, he could have been mad at God. He could have been mad at everybody, everyone. He lost everyone, and he never got married again, never had more children. And so he's a blessed memory now. He devoted his life to his synagogue, to raising money for charity, both for his shul, also for Toys for Tots and Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. He devoted his life to that. And when he did this, he freed himself of that baggage that was weighing him down. And he could actually have a fulfilling life, even though he was so broken by this enormous loss. To quote a statement by Max Lucado, forgiveness is unlocking the door to set someone free, realizing you were the prisoner. In the upcoming song, Forgiveness, there is a line, show me how to love the unlovable. Show me how to reach the unreachable. Help me. It's as a prayer. Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. It'll clear the bitterness away. It can even set a prisoner free. There is no end to what its power can do, because the prisoner that it really frees is you. This is an extremely important week. Powerful energy and forces are at play. To be written and sealed for abundance, truly a life that is good and sweet and fulfilling. We must be honest with ourselves and with each other. We must do the work and step out of our way. We need to do this for ourselves. We need to do this for our relationships. We need to do this for our world. We must open up our hearts and forgive each other and ourselves, and yes, maybe even in some cases, God. In the words of Sir Rabbi Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory, every act of forgiveness mends something broken in this fractured world. It is a step, however small, in the long journey toward redemption. Our world is in such a state of crisis. While there is so much to repair, there's also great potential for brilliance, redemption, and hope. We are all so powerful, and yet at times we are so eager to give our power away. Let us harness the power that we have inside to be strong enough to be vulnerable and willing to face the things that we wish to ignore and the people. Let us reach the unreachable and love the unlovable. For ultimate love has within it the transforming power of forgiveness. It is like an echo. You put it out in the world, and then it comes back to you. Maybe, just not from where you expect it. May this Erev Rosh HaShanah set the foundation for all our lives and all of our days of awe to be written for goodness, for sweetness, for abundance, and may we be worthy. Shana Tova. And now, Perry.
It's the hardest thing to give away, and the last thing on your mind today. It always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they cost is all too real. It takes everything you have to say the word forgiveness. Forgiveness. It flies in the face of all your pride. It moves away the man inside. It's always anger's own worst enemy. Even when the judge and jury say you've got the right to hold a grudge, it's the whisper in your ears that says set it free. Forgiveness. 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 Show me how to love the unlovable. Show me how to reach the unreachable. Help me to now to know the impossible. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. It'll clear the bitterness away. It can even set a prisoner free. There's no end to what its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through the eyes of grace. Is the prisoner that really feels is you. Forgiveness.